Well, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the Riverboat Dock Brawl in Montgomery, Alabama? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to a summary of the incident, then offer my analysis. On Saturday, August 5, 2023, the riverboat Harriet II was cruising on the Alabama River during the evening. There were 227 passengers on board. This riverboat runs 2-hour cruises. The boat is managed and maintained by the city of Montgomery. The city claims that passengers can enjoy a relaxing cruise featuring dinner, dancing, and live entertainment. Different cruises are available. The Saturday cruise is called the Getaway Cruise and costs $35. Sometime before 7 p.m., after finishing the cruise for the evening, Harriet II was supposed to dock in a reserved space at Riverfront Park. It was unable to do so because a private pontoon boat was docked in the way. The private boat only needed to move about 2 or 3 feet to make enough room for the riverboat to dock. The crew and the passengers of the riverboat waited for about 45 minutes as the captain, Jim Cottrell, attempted to communicate with the operators of the private pontoon boat. The captain used the public address system and asked them to move out of the way. According to the police, the boaters responded to the captain with expletives, impolite gestures, and taunting behavior. The police responded to the area, but as it turns out, not fast enough. The captain sent senior deckhand first mate Damian Pickett to the dock. Damian, who was black, was transported to the dock in a small boat operated by a 16-year-old white employee. Damian approached the pontoon boat and pushed it forward a few feet. The events that occurred next were captured by various cameras. Here is a summary of the incident. Damian was standing on the dock speaking to a man in a gray shirt when a shirtless white man suddenly ran across the dock and shoved Damian. After Damian threw his hat into the air, the shirtless man punched him. As Damian wrestled with the man trying to defend himself, several other shirtless white men joined in the attack. The 16-year-old employee came to Damian's aid, but the original attacker punched him as well. The fight only escalated from this point, with more people joining in. Some people were clearly trying to help and break up the fight, while others were punching, kicking, and wrestling. A black man from the riverboat, presumably a crew member, jumped into the water and swam to the dock in order to assist. The situation appeared to cool off a little bit as frustrated fight participants and others walked up and down the dock, but then another fight broke out. About 5 minutes into the incident, the situation once again appeared to have settled down. Damian waved to the riverboat, perhaps to signal that it was okay to dock. After the riverboat successfully docked, another series of fights broke out on the dock. Several people were throwing punches. At one point, a black man could be seen using a folding chair to strike 2 other people. The police detained several people at the scene. 3 white men were charged with third-degree assault. A 48-year-old was charged with 2 counts. A 25-year-old and a 23-year-old were each charged with 1 count. The police said that more arrests would be made if new evidence comes to light. They will not be filing hate crime charges against anyone. The captain of Harriet II suggested that the aggressors were obviously intoxicated, and, in his opinion, the attack was racially motivated. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts in a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. The attack on Damian was completely uncalled for. He was simply trying to make room for the riverboat. The operators of the pontoon boat were infringing on the rights of everyone who wanted to disembark the riverboat. They were wasting time. As I mentioned, the captain suggested the aggressors were intoxicated. It's not clear what the private boat operators had as far as a long-term plan. Were they just going to remain there and disrupt the operation of the riverboat for hours? Clearly, their boat had to move. It seemed like they were just being antagonistic. It's amazing to me that the police would not arrest them for interfering with the operation of the riverboat especially considering the boat is managed by the city of Montgomery. It also did not make sense for the police to take so long to respond. They received the first call at 7 p.m. and another more urgent call at 7:15 p.m. They arrived at 7:18 p.m. Interfering with the riverboat was serious enough to warrant a prompt response. Item number 2, some people have observed that this fight was largely divided along racial lines. It worked out that way, but I think the driving force behind how people selected sides had more to do with the aggressors on one team and the defenders on another. All of the aggressors appeared to be white. Most of the defenders were black, but not all. I'm not convinced the incident was racially motivated. The private boat operators were initially antagonistic toward the captain of Harriet II, who was white. Again, they were yelling at him and making inappropriate gestures. It may have been that the pontoon boat operators were simply looking for trouble in general. The captain mentioned that these same boaters had been a problem in the past. Apparently, there had been some type of negative interaction with that same group. Another possibility is that, after looking for trouble, the private boat operators specifically targeted Damien because of his race. It's really hard to know what the motivation was. Item number 3, after the private boat operator attacked Damien, another series of bad decisions occurred. Other people, who were presumably acquainted with the aggressor, joined in the attack. It's amazing that people would be willing to hurt others, get hurt themselves, and potentially enhance their resumes with criminal charges for absolutely no gain, just to impulsively join a fight on the wrong side. Also, in the beginning, these shirtless white men had a numerical advantage and appeared to be striking Damien when he was down. They placed themselves in a position where there was no way to justify their actions. Item number 4, a few minutes into the incident, other people, in addition to the shirtless men, started fighting. It's not clear what their motives were. As I mentioned, some people were trying to break up the fight, but others kept the fight alive. They just didn't have the sense to walk away. I think this only caused more tension to build up on the riverboat as the crew and others watched helplessly. When the riverboat finally docked, another series of fights broke out. I think what happened here is that people were simply angry at watching innocent victims be attacked on the dock. The anger and the tension built up, and there was a massive release. The alleged aggressors should have considered this before attacking innocent people. They initiated the attack as others were largely unable to assist. They had to know that rocking the boat was going to result in some form of payback. Some people have argued that there was an overreaction after the riverboat docked, in particular the behavior of the black man captured on video hitting 2 white people over the head with a chair. It appears as though the second chair attack was an overreaction and charges should be considered in that instance, but as far as the rest of the fighting behavior, it appears as though crew members and bystanders were provoked by the alleged aggressors. The defenders should not have participated in activity that was potentially unlawful, but one can certainly appreciate the rage they were experiencing after seeing innocent people punched and kicked. Now moving to my last item, number 5. What would justice look like in this case? This is just my opinion. There were a lot of moving parts in this particular incident. For example, hands, feet, chairs. This makes it difficult to assign blame with any level of precision. People trying to break up the fight were mixed in with the aggressors. It's hard to know who was actually criminally responsible. In general, I think the alleged aggressors who started the incident should go to jail if they are convicted. I view this as a jail time case due to the unprovoked aggression. Being intoxicated is no excuse. As I mentioned, charges should be considered for the individual who decided to chair a committee, so to speak. The second individual he attacked with the folding chair did not appear to be a threat. As far as everyone else, I think that it would be in the interest of justice not to charge them or to offer them a deferred prosecution agreement. The alleged aggressors placed everyone in a terrible position. The bystanders only had seconds to react to the unnecessary and unexpected violence. It is understandable if they failed to make perfect decisions when trying to defend the victims. Now moving to my final thoughts. The case of the Riverboat Brawl can be summarized in this way. Plastered pontoon boat proprietors prevented a permitted riverboat placement. provoked the pilot and pounced on a porter. People on the periphery promptly provided protection and participated in a pugilistic performance. Those are my thoughts on the Riverboat Dock Brawl in Montgomery, Alabama. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.